So this is our next topic where we are going to talk about linking of the project, then baselining a project, and working with the custom fields. Now, one of the questions which we were talking during the previous class that okay, if we have the shared resources, how do we see that impact and their availability? So definitely you have to have a separate project maintained for that, but at the same time there are ways also where you can just see that, but it is very hard for merging two projects together and trying to explain all the people that okay how that is going to work. But on the other hand, let's see how do we do the linking of the project, and that is what we are going to talk about. So these are the topics which we will cover as part of this, and these all are very important topics in the project management world. So first, linking the project. When we talk about linking the project, this is exactly how it looks like. So first thing you need to do is go to the resource sheet and create the resources. So once you have the project, task, and the resources, then on the resource sheet we assign all the resources and their corresponding allocation. Now what you do is you are going to create two projects, and these two projects are the projects where you are going to share the resources. So let's say if you have two projects where you need to share the resources, you will have two projects. If you have three projects to share the resources, you will have three projects. How it works is usually the project plan, if you are really in a large organization where you have the enterprise project management office, they have a project server, and the server controls the entire project where all the project plans are associated with the server, project server, Microsoft project server. So the resource sharing and everything becomes very easier. But if you are working in an isolation situation where you don't have the project server in place, then this is the methodology what we use to manage the resources who are shared among multiple projects. And you need to, and you end up linking the projects. So in this case, you have two separate projects and assign the resources to the task of these projects. So how that is going to work. So here you can see that you have resource 1, resource 2. Then again here also you have resource 1 and resource 2. So that is how you created two separate projects and save it and keep those two separate projects with you. Then next what you do. Now you need to add these two projects into a new project as a sub-project. So create a third project, and in that third project you can make it a name as a master project or something like that. You go to the project and there is an option for sub-project, and that is what you are going to embed. So when you click on the sub-project, it will open a pop-up window, and that's where you are going to do it. So when you insert both the project, this is exactly how it looks like. So during the previous class also, this is what I was trying to explain, that when you have the project, you will have two projects as altogether separate project, but it will come as if that these are the separate nodes. So you have project 1 and you have project 2. Both takes 15 days, but the things are, the resources are shared among both projects. Linking the task. Now let's say we create, the moment you have everything embedded into a single master project, now you have the predecessors. Now it is much easier for you to show the dependency, that who is the predecessor and what task is the predecessor. So let's say in this, for task 1, you create a predecessor as a project A5. So that way you know that okay, this A5 is the predecessor for project 2. So that automatically the relationship is established in the master project. Then if you will do the sub project view, this is exactly how you look like. So you will see that resource availability for this is coming out to be that okay, this project is this is how the resource breakdown is happening. Okay, fair enough. Now if you have to see the project A and project B, immediately it will show you that see this how it is coming out to be grayed out, and here is that green. That means here the project task is in progress. Unless that is not going to complete, this will not pick up. So that's a direct dependency. This is exactly how you do the linking. So this is end of the linking of the project. It's pretty simple step, but simplifies the life for the project manager. So that is the reason we should know that. Then we have the baselining a project. Now how do we baseline a project? So you cannot baseline the project unless you have some estimates in place, unless you have the planning estimates or some numbers thrown out on the table for the discussion, which you can take it as a baseline. Because once you have that, then only you can see that okay, what you are going to measure against. So you have a baseline number and then you have the actuals. That is the place where you will analyze the variance. We have talked about this before. But to save a baseline for only certain tasks, select them by dragging over their task ID numbers. Now there are multiple ways to baseline. You want to baseline the entire project, or you want to baseline one particular area or one particular section in the project. These are two different things, and that's what we are going to see. So when you try to set up the baseline, you go to choose project and set baseline. This pop-up will come up. Now when you're trying to do it, you have an option that, okay, are you trying to do interim plan? Interim plan means some section of the project you're trying to baseline, or you are trying to set the baseline for the entire project. If you are trying to do entire project, you do entire project, and if you say selected task, you will do selected task. Then you will, based on the selection, you will pick this baselining option. So whatever will be selected, it will baseline only that. So you see here, to all subtask, from subtask into selected summary tasks. So it is the node and the subnodes. That's how it will. So it depends. How do you want to baseline? So let's say mostly we work on the projects where we have the entire baseline. Very less likely you will see in non-IT specific projects where you have the baseline which is not for the entire project. So what will be the next step? The next step is, if we selected the entire project or the selected radio button which is specific to the task, whichever you select, now after selection the baseline rolls up the changes to the task data. So once that is done, now the dates are fixed, all the numbers and everything is fixed. You can summarize change data in all summary tasks for all only selected summary tasks. So it is saying that, okay, if you are using not the entire project, then you can just go by the node and it will sum up the summary. If you're doing it for the overall project, then your baseline will reflect on the entire project for line 1 where you have the start and the end date, because that is the baseline date. Clicks OK and then you just move on. Now your project is baseline. So now once this is just a baselining, okay, then you have the third option. If you have to play around with the custom field, how do we play around with the custom field? The custom field could be anything which you feel that something you don't find it as a as is text, but you have to create it. You have an option to create that in project plan. Now for that you go to format and click on the custom field. When you do that, you will give this pop-up to you. In this, select a type. What do you want to do the custom field for? So task, you want a task or you want the resource. So either case, depending upon which one you want to do, you will go and select that option. Let's say we are doing it for the task. When you do it for the task, and now I want what type of custom field you want. ID, you want, you see that cost center ID. There are certain cases when you have a project where you have a billing at multiple cost centers, so you can have a custom code like that. Here I just want to have the type that you wish to create. In this case I'm creating the text type custom field. So I want text, I don't want ID, flag or something, or date type of a field. I just, or you can have a cost. So you can create a custom field called fixed cost also, just for your reporting purpose. So you have a text. Now you took that, then you selected that what would be the field. You took that, okay, text 3, that is the first one, so I just took that, and then you try to rename it. Renaming means what custom field name you want to define, and that you will just rename it. When you do that, let's say this gives you the pop-up, so I put as a location. So that is the custom field I want to create it. So the rename field dialog box will appear. Change the new name for text field to whatever name you want to choose to call it. For example, location, and then click OK. So you are done. It will update that. It will open the edit lookup table for the location. So in this case, what happens is, see here, when you have this location, there is something missing. Once you rename this, you click on this lookup. When you click on this lookup, it will bring you to this screen, edit lookup table for the location. So the step is, once you click OK, this text 3 will get updated as location. Then select that location, click on this lookup. The moment you click on this lookup, You have an option to put the formula also. So for this particular field, if you want to have some formula where automatically something gets calculated, if you select that value, that field you can design it. So you can enter the formula also. But here we are doing it for the location. So I just took location and then went to the lookup table. When I come to the lookup, now it is asking me what values do I want to define it for the location. So let's say I have the on-site versus remote. So I have the employees, I have the resources who are on-site, I have the resources who are remote. So I want to define that. Or if you have something kind of an import, which values you have that, okay, let's say somebody working California, uh, Philippines, something like that, you define a list in an Excel and you can import it over here too. So let's say you selected that, and then once that is done, close it. Now you see here how the location is, text tray is updated to location. Now click OK button. Then what happens? You see here on this drop down, you added a new column where you picked up that location which you created as a customer field. Now in that customer field, you have an option. When you click on the drop down, it will give you that on-site versus remote. These are the values. So whichever you select will be the value for this particular field. So that is how you created the custom field. Now how the final view will look like. So once you assign all the task and the location associated with that, you will see that, okay, this is how exactly what it is coming out to be, that which value you have picked up. So it gives you the flexibility to create a drop down kind of a projection for your values which you want to showcase. And that is your end of chapter 5.